on, man. There was this Xenomorph situation on
Yes.
J426.
That was before my time.
Wow.
I joined the company right after that.
So, I mean, while I have you here alone, that sounded so much more awkward than I intended. But while we're alone, when do you get put into another Alien movie? You know? Come on, they could bring you back somehow.
Because I'm not really dead.
You're not? No.
If you read the comic book, you know.
Right.
I'm alive and well, and a good person.
Yes. A wonderful person. Right.
Carrie Henn.
Let's hear it for Carrie Henn. Mr. Michael Biehn. Long time no see, Mike. And Mr. Carl Toop, the man in the suit.
I was answering all the questions about you guys, so now
You don't know about Paul.
Paul was going to leave as soon as you guys got here.
I changed my mind. I said, you know what? Just me. But now it's nice to be all together.
Yes. If you have questions for them, I would approach the mic and get in line, and we'll get to you guys in a second.
You can.
Paul,
Yes.
in the Alien franchise, you're kind of evil, man. Did you know that you'd be hated the rest of your career for that performance in that movie? People will go, oh, him, that.
You know, I thought I'd be hated for other films, but you know, I was surprised that this one was the one that won. Yeah, you know, like, oh, I would hate it.
Did you like playing the villain?
Oh, it was fun. Yeah, it was. It's again, but in my head, I always thought, well, you know, I would joke, he's not a bad guy. It just went wrong. He got, you know, he made it was a bad call. It was a bad call. It was. In the heat of the moment, sometimes you make a bad decision. If I can take it back. But if you read the comic book, it's like, oh, he actually had, there was a good reason. There was a good reason.
I do have something funny to tell you that just recently happened. So my daughter's a senior and she's taking this film lit class. And she came home and some boy in the class was talking about his most favorite movie, and it was Aliens. But she was too embarrassed to say, oh, well, you know, my mom was in it. So he said, oh, do you know that movie? And she's like, it's one of the only scary movies I know. So he said, oh, who's your favorite character? So she thought it was kind of lame to say Newt, so she said Ripley. And then she's like, well, who's your favorite character? And no, my kids have only watched it like maybe twice. And so the kid said, Hicks. And she goes, oh, that's a good character. So she came home, she's telling me the story, and she's like, yeah, he really likes Paul Reiser's character. I was like, he likes Burke? That's his favorite character? She's like, no, Hicks. I was like, oh, well, he was Burke's. But I thought you'd be happy to know that she thought you were the good character. So I apologize to you, but
I'm going to hold on to that. I'm going to hold on to that. For a moment, somebody thought I was good.
Carrie, it's so good to see you doing the convention scene. I had said to my wife, like, a few years ago, I was like, you know, she's killing it, man. You know, so how does it feel as an adult looking back on that experience and thinking to yourself, holy shit, I am part of cinema history. Because you really are. Your character is so beloved, you know, because you did so much as a child actor. Without even having that very many lines, you emoted with your face, and you're the linchpin of the whole movie. So what is that like for you?
I mean,
No pressure.
I guess it's kind of surreal. To me, well, like Sigourney kind of worded it, she's like, Carrie thinks this is normal life, which to me it is. Like, doesn't everyone have a childhood like that? I mean, it's, so there's a picture on my wall when my daughter was younger, and people would come through, we just bought the house, and she was like showing everybody everything. And she's like, oh, and this is my picture. Oh, there's my friend Sigourney, and there's my friend Bill, and she was like going through naming everybody like they're her best friends, and they're like, she has no clue this isn't normal. So to me, it was just a normal thing, and it's great to come back here because I had relationships with everyone as a child, but to like get to know them as an adult and have that relationship with them as an adult is really cool. And like for me, I would love if I'm watching television, I'm like, oh, there's my friend, like seeing them and like cheering them on from the sidelines. Because I'm just me. I'm a teacher. I'm not very exciting.
Well, first of all, let me just stop you there. You're a teacher. You are a hero.
Yay for that! I'm gonna have some students in my class right now that would disagree with me.
Now, when you want to talk about icon, holy cow, Michael Biehn. So many iconic roles, so many iconic moments. He didn't even pay me to say all that either. But he is an amazing human being. Mike, how does it, I mean, have you ever, what do you feel is your most embraced character? Is it Kyle Reese? Is it Burke Hicks? For you, who did you enjoy? Like, I know it's like asking to choose between your favorite.
I think that I really enjoyed playing Hicks more than any other character, mostly because when I did Terminator, I had what actors call exposition. I had to tell the movie-going public, but basically through Linda Hamilton, who she was, who I was, who the Terminator was, what the future was. I was just like yapping. A lot of lines, a lot of like dialogue. And so when I got Hicks, I replaced another actor, and I came in, you're not even shooting, I didn't have to go through that 2-week, boot camp thing they send actors through. I just came in, I put on James Remar's gear, and just fell asleep on the set. They're like, he's a character, so Hicks didn't say much, he smiles every once in a while, he says a line here, a line there. I was over there for 4 months, I probably averaged like 1 line every 3 days, so, mostly I remember just hanging out with Bill Paxton and having a good time. This one hung out with Sigourney, and this one hung out with Sigourney, but Bill and I kind of, we were having a good time.
But Bill was kind of the glue of the group, because Bill was like, he was like the center. Yeah, and I easily was left out of the group because all these guys and had their training and their gear, and I was just the corp guy with my little journal and diary. But Bill was embracing it and made it fun for everybody on the set. He was kind of as you would expect. He was sort of life of the party guy.
You guys missed it. Can we reenact that moment we did for Bill just for them? Just guys, since we're talking about it, I think it deserves to be heard one more time. You ready? Yeah. Go.
Game over, man! Game over!
Wonderful. Carl, as a creature actor, you sometimes have the most difficult job because you're not emoting with your words, you're emoting with your body movements. And the alien, let's face it, it's a little bit of a weird kind of construct. The suit is amazing. What was it like for you to find the balance between humanoid and creature,
Well, I think I was chosen for the role because I was skinny then and very agile. So that allowed me to get into the costume and move the costume. The costume itself was quite easy to move as a monster costume. It was just really learning to work in the space that was allowed to us. I was in the cockpit, and it was a very confined space. So I was really having to adapt to my movements to the space I was in. So that played a lot role in the way I moved. And also, I was given free range to move how I wanted to. It was just trying to keep away from the human, as far as I could look like a human. So sort of thinking reptiles and things like that. But it was an interesting, a great costume anyway, so that was half the work done, because it was designed by Stan Winston. Incredible.
The most surreal moment for me in the whole experience was during the little tea breaks. They don't have coffee break, tea break. So you see these guys, they have the suit, but they take off the head, and they're drinking tea and they're chatting. Are you enjoying London? That's not right.
You should have seen us in the bathrooms. That was interesting.
They go just like we do.
Oh, no, we don't.
No, we don't.
Obviously, we're all big fans of the movie, that's why we're sitting here. Mike, you touched on it earlier, and something that I didn't realize until this year for the documentary, that you almost weren't Hicks. you were brought in late and you replaced Remark. What did you feel going into a cast that had already had formed probably a bond because they had done the boot camp?
Yes, everybody did bond on the movie, but I had something that nobody else had on the movie, and that was that I'd already done a movie with Jim Cameron and Gail Hurd, and I'd actually spent quite a bit of time with Jim before Jim turned into like the non-stop working, brilliant Jim Cameron. We used to sort of hang out, so I had that going for me. So I was excited and I was thankful, and it was just a wonderful opportunity for me. But I don't ever remember having any butterflies or worrying about being accepted. And I worked with Bill Paxton before, and Bill and I used to hang out quite a bit after we did Lords of Discipline and a small part. But having already worked for Jim, I knew that I was going to be accepted by him. I knew that I was coming in, and so it was very, very easy for me. And like I said, Hicks is, I'll lay around and smile every once in a while, bark out a line every once a week. It was fun. It was. You don't realize it sometimes in your life, but it's the greatest late summer. It was the summer from the greatest summer I've ever had. Although the summer I did Tombstone was kind of fun too.
How long was it from when you got the call, "We need you," to when you were shooting?
That was, England is 8 hours ahead of LA, so I got the call Thursday evening, and I was on the set Monday morning.
Hi there, my name is Tammy. Nice to meet you guys. I was watching Scream 2 the other day, and they have this little argument during the classroom scene, what's the best sequel of all time? And they mention, what's better, sorry, the original film or the sequel? So they mention Aliens. So I was curious, do you have any films that have part 2 that you think is better than the original? Besides your own, of course.
Godfather? Possibly.
Yeah.
Father Burke.
I would say Godfather, and I know I have not seen either of these two films, but everybody says Paddington 2. So I'm going to say that even though I don't know what it is.
Okay, I will say Paddington is really good.
So was I.
Thank you guys.
Hi, question for Michael. As we know, in the sci-fi universe, the big 3 killers are the Terminator, the Alien, and the Predator. You and a few of your co-stars have been in either one or the other, but only 2 have been up in an Alien, Terminator, and a Predator. That'd be Bill Paxton and Lance. If they continue the Predator series, would you be interested in continuing and finishing the trifecta?
First of all, they're doing a Predator, an animated movie called The Predator. I think it's a $30 or $40 million movie. And I've seen the artwork, and so they need voices for that.
Putting that out there. Manifesting it.
I've seen the art, so it reminds me of Spider-Man Across the Universe, that incredible art. Animation these days is just stunningly good stuff, stunningly good. And I think if you just hold on 6 months or a year, I might be able to join that club. If they decide to keep me on. Voice actors get replaced quite easily because it's easy for me to do. I don't like that voice changing. You can't do that once you've done 2 or 3 days on the set, though. It's hard to hire someone. But just pay attention to the new Predator animated series.
Man, what a great question. You even got some info that you may or may not want to get excited about.
I'm very upset that you weren't killed in 3. I'm like, how dare they?
My question is what the maybe like best blooper that happened to each of you on set that maybe wasn't recorded or wasn't, you know, displayed, but something funny that may have happened that, you know, nobody knows. Yes.
I'm sure I won't remember a lot of bloopers.
I can't think of any bloopers, but I can think of something that happened, and it was when we were going in the APC, and I would like go over, and Sigourney has me sit down, and then she like drives off, and then she comes back, and I'm not sitting there, but I'm sitting down on the ground. And James Cameron had said to me, just talk to the doll's head, like just talk to Casey, like mumble whatever, and it'll be fine. We never need to know what you're saying. So I said, okay, and I felt really dumb doing it. So what I was saying to her was, this is really dumb, I feel really stupid, I hate doing this, like why am I doing this? And then we go in to do the voiceovers, and that pops up on the screen. And I was like, what do I do? And so he's like, what were you saying here? I said, I don't know. And he's like, you don't remember what you were saying? Absolutely not. Like, I have no clue what I'm saying there. And he's like, okay, well, let's read your lips. And I was like, oh, what, I'm gonna get in trouble? Like, I'm saying not, I mean, and to me, I was a kid, it was not nice things, right? And so I'm like, oh my gosh, what do I do? What do I do? And then he goes, I think you're saying, it looks like you're saying, it'll be okay, or whatever my line was during that time. And it actually, it works. Like you can, because that's one line that I'm very specific, like I watch it and I'm like, oh, but it works. I mean, it kind of looks like, that's what I'm saying. My bloopers were more things like I was worried I was getting in trouble, like I was always had to stay away from the fog machines and everything. And once when we were filming The Alien's Nest, I was like scooting back and I bumped into it, and since I had holes everywhere, it like went in and it like burned my leg. But because I was always supposed to be so far away from it, I was scared to tell anyone. So I just like moved away.
I don't know if anyone else had any, or like in a suit or car, but that was my question.
Well, we covered the aliens' bathroom habits already.
That's true, that's true.
I mean, I can tell you, like when I was hanging for the slide, the first assistant director was checking on me, and as he was leaning down, his walkie-talkie fell and it hit me. So then I had to like hold it just right when I was filming so that nobody could see it. So her jacket kind of covered it a little bit, but I still have a scar from it.
Thank you guys.
I too was disappointed that the characters were killed off at the beginning of Alien 3, and that's what my question is about. Do you know if there were ever any plans to do a version of Alien for the third one where your characters did survive, and would you have been willing to be in it?
So I know there are multiple scripts initially that were out, and Sigourney called me a few times. She actually was the one that called me to tell me that they had gone in a different direction. I mean, honestly, I was like 16 years old at the time, so clearly a 16-year-old girl looks a lot different than a 9-year-old girl. So clearly, I mean, I kind of, one of them was, I think that like something had happened in the sleep, so like I grew up or whatever. But honestly, I was 16. It was all superficial stuff. I got to go to the premiere. I mean, it was pretty cool. Like Sigourney made sure I was sitting next to her, and I mean, getting to walk the red carpet at 16 is a pretty awesome experience, and not something I really remembered from when I was younger. So, I mean.
By the way, those of you not familiar with Hollywood jargon, the phrase "going a different direction." That means, not you.
Yes, but Sigourney was so sweet about it.
She said it nicely, but that was the message.
And yeah, I was a little disappointed at the time. And people always ask me about this, and they always say, you know, how can they do that to Hicks? And, you know, I can talk about a lot of stuff that went on, but more importantly, like, the fact that Jim Cameron spent the last half of this movie saving Newt. And, like, it just seemed ridiculous. And the idea that Newt doesn't survive after everything that we went through, no, not for you.
Some didn't try to save me.
And anyway, as it turns out, after hearing about the third one, I'm glad I wasn't in it. And I think David Fincher, who directed it, has been quoted as saying, "Nobody hates that movie more than me."
So they had a number of, the special edition where they cut off a bunch of scenes and stuff like that. I was wondering, was there even more stuff that they cut out and then restored, or was that all of them?
I think it's all out. It wasn't. What are you looking for?
The courtroom guy, I didn't mean it.
What would you like to see? You can act it out right here.
And were you all disappointed that the scenes were cut? That, at the time of the theatrical release, they've been restored now, which is good.
No.
I was really disappointed in the
whole
scene with my
beginning of the
family because it was a personal scene for me as a character because it really kind of explains like my father was the first one to bring it back and why it was so personal to me. So it was personal to my character, but also the boy in it who played my brother is my brother in real life. So it was kind of personal on that aspect as well. And then I was also upset about the scene where they cut out with the picture of Ripley's daughter. And I was upset for Sigourney personally because that was her mom.
Yeah.
And so it was like our two personals, like truly personal to us and to our character were both cut out.
I forgot they cut that scene. She's looking at, that was like, it seems like a week or two of filming life on, before.
I mean, I filmed that scene with my brother for a long time, which by the way, I loved filming it because I got to hit him. So I was being paid to hit him with a doll and my mom was sitting over there and I didn't get in trouble.
But that's a really interesting insight into filmmaking. I mean, somebody as skilled and smart as Jim Cameron, who wrote this, shot it, and then went, it's not helpful, take it out. That's, sometimes you have to, kill your babies.
I was at the screening of Aliens, and it was right before they screened it, I believe, for the press. And I was in a room with Jim and Sigourney, and I was there when Jim told her that all that backstory was being cut out. And at that moment, Sigourney didn't realize that she was going to get nominated for an Academy Award, but she was not immediately pleased to hear the backstory.
Jim said, we went a different way.
I was going to say, again, they left it to Sigourney to call, and she told my brother about that. Yeah. And she sent him some autograph pictures, and she is so amazing.
Awesome.
To all of you, what was your favorite Alien movie other than the first two?
Ooh. There were others?
You don't like it.
I haven't seen it, but I understand that the latest one has probably been received with the most praise and box office success. What's it called?
Romulus.
Romulus,
I think that had good reviews, and the fans have liked it as well, which seems to be the general opinion.
Carrie and I are going to watch them today, and then get back to you with an answer.
I was going to say, I'm like...
We didn't know we were going to be quizzed.
Yeah, I'm like, truly and honestly, the worst person to be in a scary movie because I do not like scary movies at all. I'm like a chick flick Hallmark type movie, I don't want to be scared. So I've only seen Alien once, Aliens multiple times, and Alien 3 maybe 2 or 3 times. I probably shouldn't have been.
Well, this is really odd to be here. I feel the same because I'm now at an age I don't get scared. I just get angry. When somebody jumps out of the closet, I go, come on, don't do that. It scared me. I don't find it funny. I find it annoying and dangerous.
I mean, I've always felt that way because I have an overactive imagination, so I imagine that's going to be happening to me, like in the middle of the night.
It's not funny. You know what I can't watch now, as a parent, if there's a child in actual peril. Like I can watch a city blow up, but if there's a toddler running near a glass coffee table, whoa, hey! Somebody get that. That kills me.
Carrie, so did your mother or father, did they have any apprehension you appeal in this movie? Because I know my mother hates these movies. When I first discovered this movie, she hated them. And she would like scream at my dad for letting me watch them. Was there any apprehension? Because I heard some other movies, they try to like keep the kids away from the violent scenes as possible.
I mean, well, there either should have been, and my parents are amazing, but my mom they really had no clue what we were getting into. My mom said, oh, to my dad, oh, it's some movie, I don't know. She couldn't even remember Sigourney Weaver's name, and it was when we first heard about it, and my dad's like, oh, do you mean Alien? And my mom hadn't seen it, but my dad had, and my dad's like, oh, okay. But like, I was a military brat.
Me too.
I was around, you know, that kind of like stuff. And the school I went to was a public school for the American children, but I heard worse language out on the playground. So, you know what kids are like, so it was kind of like, But, James Cameron was so amazing, and Galen Hurd making sure that I wasn't scared. Stan Winston invited me into the shop regularly. I could just go in there and visit with them. So I would see how it was made, and if there was something new that was coming on set, they'd like me to see it first, just so I wasn't scared. But honestly, I was around it all, but I was like, yeah, whatever. It wasn't a big deal. To me, it was normal. It was, yeah. It's completely abnormal, but it seemed normal.
And Carrie, you're a teacher. Have there been any moments where somebody found out you were in that movie and it was a thing?
Honestly, I've lived in this city since I was 10, so just before it came out, we moved there. It's pretty old news. Usually every year someone finds out, but not really much of anything. Occasionally I'll get like, oh, my dad never comes to my parent-teacher conferences. I don't know why he's coming to this one. They'll be like, oh, apparently he's an Aliens fan. Okay. I'm glad they tell me that afterwards, or it would have been just like kind of awkward. I sometimes get kids coming in and they'll say, oh, Christmas is coming and my dad's a really big fan. Would you mind signing this for me? And so I'll say, okay, just hold off until after, or if it's like their birthday or something like that. But I don't think they're overly impressed by me, but
we all are.
I was just wondering if you could recite the mostly come out at night line.
But I don't have an awkward English American accent anymore, so it's not quite.
It's been parodied in so many shows and movies.
They mostly come out at night, mostly.
Affirmative. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for the cast of Aliens.